Welcome to another Lemonade series. I'm Jaquetta, here with the creator of the Reality Formula and my mom, Lynne Forrest. I want to talk to you today about applying one of the guiding principles to something that we do internally a lot, which is tell ourselves that we failed or we are rejectable or have been rejected, because when in reality, what might be happening is the law of cycles. And instead of maybe progressing in life the way we think we should be, we end up finding ourselves back someplace where we thought we shouldn't be anymore. And I think the law of cycles really helps us with that. So let's talk about that. And do you have anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, that's a really good idea because it's true that I'm thinking of an example. Like recently, for me personally, recently I reached out to someone and thought I had a good connection with them, and then suddenly they just became unavailable. I couldn't get through anymore to them, and I went into a tailspin around that. I went into an old place of what did I do wrong? What did I say? What didn't I do? How did I blow this thing? How did I fail? And blah blah blah. And this is what we do. Remember the wheel that I talk so much about? It's like when we're at the top of the wheel, we're up there in that place of connection and alignment, and we're
For those of you who don't know what the wheel is, why don't you tell us exactly what the wheel represents?
the wheel. I think of the wheel as sort of the karmic wheel that you might call it. The Buddhists might talk about the wheel of life, and it's the cycles, the law of cycles in action. And it's sort of like if you had a wheel here around, and at the top of the wheel is that higher trinity, that place of connection, remembering who we are and responding from a place of not taking it personal and not making it a problem and not needing to blame others or ourselves, but being in right alignment. And then at the bottom of the wheel is that victim triangle, where we are totally lost in our story, triggered by it, and believing the limited, unhappy story about who we are. And so what we want to do is get up here in the high place on the wheel, as if and stay there. This is this idea, this illusion that we have in life, that we're supposed to climb the mountain. We should be on the straight and narrow, going straight up to the top pinnacle. And once we get there, we should never leave. We should always be there, which that's what it is to succeed. And this is a model, a programming we've been handled. But the reality of it is that there's nothing further from the truth. Wheels are designed to go up and down. If you start here, what's a wheel designed to do? It's designed to take us somewhere. But how does it do that? It does it by turning, going up and down, even as it progresses. So we're making progress. It's just that here I am at the top, here I am at the bottom, here I am at the top. And so we go through our themes, our life themes, and we do that over and again. And so it's not about you're finally so conscious that you never go into victim consciousness. No, you will go there. It's not how many times you go there. It's how long do you stay? How long does it take before you begin to acknowledge and ask yourself the questions that challenge the unhappy story that you are buying into in that moment? And that's what moves you back up. So we are all in this process. And so I was doing that with that particular contact. I had moved down here into this place of blaming myself. The old story, that's an old familiar theme for me, is that I somehow blew it, that I did it wrong, that I'm a failure. And so this time, because I have the tools, I was able to recognize that here I am at the bottom of the wheel. Rather than, oh no, I'm at the bottom, I can't let anybody know this because, after all, I'm a teacher and I'm never supposed to go there. It's like, oh, well, here I am. I'm a human being on the wheel, just like every other human being. And so now that I'm here, what is it I'm believing? What am I telling myself? And when I believe that, how do I feel? And beginning to ask the questions that will help me. Really, what I'm after is uncovering the thing that I'm believing about me in that moment, so that I can bring it up into consciousness for questioning and for applying the possibility that it might not be true. And one of the things I did was I did a meditation around going into my heart and really finding the sore spots, finding the painful places that we carry in our heart, those wounded places, those places where we feel like something's missing, that the part of us that believes that somehow we did it wrong, that is unforgiving, that hasn't forgiven ourselves, and projects that onto others, that feels hurt by, betrayed, all those places in the heart. And I just did a meditation that day as a way of just sort of going in and scooping up the darkness around those wounded places, and imagining myself giving them up to the light, give them up and allow forgiveness to turn them into the light. And so I was doing that, and what happened was my heart began to get lighter. It just began to get lighter as I pulled the darkness out. And suddenly my heart got light enough for me to see another possibility. And in that moment, the possibility arrived in my mind that, it could just as easily be, and since we don't really know why this person disappeared from sight, it might not be about me. That was my lighter thought. And then the next lighter thought was, as a matter of fact, it might be that they're struggling with feeling like they can meet me on the level that they think they should. And it might be that they have a story about themselves not being good enough. It could be that. I don't know that it's that, but I also don't know that I blew it. And just that possibility, just that option, that way of going, well, actually, I don't know why. But I know one thing, and that is when I believe that it's all my fault, I feel bad. And when I feel bad, I play the part. I feel and act. Remember, that's what the reality formula says. When we believe what we think, we feel as if it's true, we act as if it's true, and then we become the person, become the character. We take on that role of being someone who teaches others how to respond to us in a way that will verify what we believe, and may not be true at all. But because we believe it, we feel it, we act it, and we act in ways that will invite that feedback from others. And this is how we create our reality. And so recognizing that and learning how to go in and forgive ourselves, find that place of me. Really, there was nothing to forgive other than my own judgment of me, and judging and forgiving me for having a judgment of me, rather than just going, oh, I'm on the wheel. I'm on the cycle.
What life theme would you say was up for you at that point? The question is, what life themes or old patterns am I cycling through right now? What would be that? If it's just an old familiar negative story, is that a life pattern, a life theme? How does that apply?
A life theme means it's a theme that reoccurs over and over again in every arena of your life. And for me, yes, it's an old belief that says it's my fault. It's always my fault. I did it wrong. And that's the theme. And that has played out in my life since I was a little girl. That was back long, many years ago, because we all come in and have a setup. So I, like every other human being, was handed a setup. We all are. By the time we're 5, we've taken on a limited story about who we are that becomes a sort of a theme that we just play out over and over again. And it's designed to take us around the wheel, because we are going somewhere, we're progressing. And the way that we do that is to go up and down. Going down into our stories is how it is that we find what it is we're believing that is up for questioning, so that I can have those moments of realization where, as I did in my example, where I would suddenly realize that there's another option here. It might not be about me. It might not be I did it wrong. It might actually be that they're struggling. It might actually be that they don't feel adequate. It might actually be not about me at all. It might not be either me or them. It might be circumstances. Who knows? Maybe they suddenly had something else come up that they had to fly off to or run off to or whatever. I don't know. I only know one thing. When I make it about me and use it to verify my old story of unworthiness, of it being my fault, then I suffer. And I have that choice.
There's something that occurs to me though, because there's another law, and I would say there are no coincidences, the very first law. There are no coincidences, and because of the work that you do, I would say that life theme has served you very well.
Absolutely.
Because you think it is all your fault, and if you think it is all about you, it has brought together this body of work, which is the reality formula, because you are responsible for your thoughts and you are responsible for how you feel. And knowing that little piece, not blaming yourself, but knowing that there's a piece of it in there for you, has culminated into this beautiful realization and this beautiful higher consciousness. So I would say that your negative core belief has a positive side to it.
So important to see that, Kata. That is so true. It is. All of this work is sacred. These places that we go into that feel so painful, they are not bad because they're painful. They are enlightening. They are spots of potential enlightenment. They are where the real work is done. It's not when we're at the top of the wheel that we expand our consciousness. It's down in the trenches. It's when we're down in it. And you're absolutely right. It's because of that theme in my life that made it all about me, which we all do. When we're in our story, that's what we do. We make it all about us, and our undesirability, our inadequacy, whatever it is that we believe. But it gave rise in me to the desire to find that part of me of remembering, to remember who I am beyond the limited story. And this is what really all we need to know, really. We don't need to get past this work so that you never go back to those dark places, because good luck with that. But what we do need is permission to know we have a choice, and that to realize that it's taking me somewhere, that it's valuable, that these times when I go down into my darkness, down into those places of contraction in me, those are sacred places. That is the time when I am growing the most.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that it's all for you.
It's all for me. That's right.